You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com. The futures markets can be downright scary. Limit up, limit down. What the heck is RBOB anyway? Are they going to dump a truckload of soybeans on your front lawn if you click the wrong button? Come to think of it, maybe you should just stick to your comfort zone. Or you can break out of it with the Futures Rundown. The Futures Rundown is here to help you make sense of these scary markets. We'll analyze all the top futures trading activity, explore the ins and outs of your favorite products, explain exactly how futures work, and hear from leading experts in the futures markets. We'll even tackle all of your wildest futures trading questions. If it involves futures, then you'll hear about it on the Futures Rundown. The Futures Rundown is brought to you by T4 Futures and Options. Elevate your trading experience with the T4 Futures and Options trading platform. Whether you prefer desktop or mobile applications, T4 delivers low latency and professional-grade functionality for both traders and brokers. Take advantage of theoretical sheets, strategy solver, MBO, advanced charts, and a suite of powerful features to enhance your trading strategy. Visit ctsfutures.com or search for T4 Futures and Options on Google to register and get a free month. And now, it's time to break into the futures markets. It's time for the Futures Rundown.
All right, everybody, that music means it is Wednesday time once again for the Futures Rundown. My name, of course, Mark Longo from theoptionsinsider.com. Reminding you, if you're not checking out the full network, what are you doing? You're missing out on a hell of a lot of great content. And if you're not hanging out in the pro, theoptionsinsider.com/pro, what are you doing? You're missing out on awesome pro Q&As like yesterday. We went deep once again. Who doesn't have questions about VIX? You'll hear about it a little bit later in the show again today. Who doesn't have questions about vol in these markets? If you don't, you're not paying attention. Awesome pro Q&A with Mr. VIXologist. The week before with Dr. VIX, going deep, answering all your questions about the broad spectrum of volatility, including on the futures front. So if you're intrigued by futures, you should be checking out the pro, theoptionsinsider.com/pro. It also gets you in the live right now, so you can hear the live shows. Don't have to wait for them to hit the podcast, which is useful for a day like today because I got to catch a plane in a few minutes. But before I do that, listeners, we're going to go into the trading pit.
It's time to break down all the action that's lighting up the futures markets this week. What's limit up and what's crashing and burning? Let's find out. It's time to enter the trading pit.
All right, everybody, welcome to the trading pit. Kind of a just the facts, ma'am edition because I do have to hop on aforementioned plane. I see our pro chat saying I'm hopping on a plane to save miles on my brand new car. That is not the case. I just don't feel like driving a day or two to get where I need to go. So, and I don't want to put wear and tear on the car. I just got it. Maybe I want to flip it. People are paying up for cars these days. So the trader in me cannot be denied. So maybe there's a little bit of column A, maybe a little bit of column B. But let's get to the trading pit, listeners. To the upside, to the green we go. What's lighting it up? Another wild day out there in the markets. Again, if you don't like what's going on, just wait 5 minutes. These are snapshots as of right now. If even by the time it hits the podcast on demand network later today, these numbers could be vastly different, let alone if you listen to this show tomorrow or weeks, months down the road. But nonetheless, this is where we are, listeners. Let's dive in. After a lot of green on the screen since the end of last week, we are seeing a turnaround in the broad equities and rallies in your flight to quality assets like gold. In fact, that's where we kick off our green this week, listeners. Number 5 to the upside this week, gold up 8.5%. And another one where uncertainty, tumult, it continues this just run of upside in gold. I know we've had more than a few guests on this show lately looking a little bit critically at the precious metals, gold in particular. Gold has shrugged all of that off, hitting a new all-time high this morning of 33.19. I think we're beyond that now as well, 33.41. Yeah, so it wasn't that long ago. Everyone was waiting, saying, can it possibly hit 3,300? Yep, blew right through that. Wasn't that long ago we were talking about 3,000. So, yeah, gold certainly the beneficiary of all this tumult. So kind of doing what it's supposed to do. Back in, let's say, the sell-off a few years ago, a lot of people were questioning gold. We didn't really see, it was a high inflationary time, market was selling off. Gold didn't really do what it was supposed to do. These days, at least for right now, it is stepping up to the plate. Are you a believer in this rally? Well, it's up 8.5% so far this week, listeners. And then number 4, again, bad news for all you coffee drinkers. Coffee up 9.85% again this week, so no rest for you Starbucks folks. That bill going to keep going up. Maybe you switch to a less costly habit. I don't know, cigarettes looking pretty cheap by comparison right now. Number 3 to the upside. I'm kidding, don't start smoking. All the kids out there, listen. Number 3, we got palladium to the upside, up 9.89%. Number 2, keeping it in the metals. We've got copper, listeners. Copper up 11.31% this week. So the base getting a lift as well. It's not just the shiny stuff. We're going base as well. And then the number 1 gainer this week so far, our old pal OJ getting back a lot of its lost luster, up 21.26%. So OJ catching a bid. Mortimer and company, they'll be excited. Turn those machines back on, listeners. All right, to the downside we go. Let's lighten it up to the red this week. Number 5 to the downside, listeners, is our old pal. It's actually a bit of a tie. It's the micro and the E-mini for the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq taking a shellacking this week, off 3.63% this week. Number 4 to the downside this week, listeners, we've got cocoa off 4.8% this week. Number 3 to the realm of dairy we go. It is dry whey off 4.89%. Number 2, dead trees. They were dominating the vol charts back in 2021 and 2020. These days, giving some back up, off 6.52% so far this week. And the number 1 downside mover, our old pal Nat Gas, aka the Widowmaker, looking a little bit smaller this week, or I should say a lot smaller, off 14.2% to the downside for Nat Gas. Before we get to what's driving the trends for the year so far, let's see what's lighting it up out there today. We are, of course, recording this on Wednesday, April 16th, one day after tax day. So happy tax day +1. Hopefully you got them in, or at the very least, you got that extension in. Because it's kind of active again out there. Let's do a top 15. Also, you'll see there's a few micros sneaking in there as well. We left them in because they're doing something interesting today. Number 15, though, we start off in FX. It's the yen, 137,000 for the June yen contract. In fact, this is all June. Yes, we are, the entirety of our top 15 this week is all June. Even our old pal, 3-month SOFR. Kind of interesting. No Ds for them. Number 15, we've got June yen, 137 on the tape. Number 14, out to the rates, the Ultra T-Bond, 159,000 contracts on the tape. Number 13, back to FX. It's the euro, 188 on the tape so far today. Number 12, from FX to energy we go. It is crude oil, our old pal WTI, 218,000 contracts on the tape. Obviously, a lot of global agencies lowering their demand outlook for crude in the wake of all these tariffs and trade wars, and that's just driving some flow out there. Number 12, 218,000 for WTI. Number 11, you might be forgiven for thinking this one will be higher today. It's gold, 220,000 contracts on the tape. Number 10, back to the rates we go. It is the 30-year, 261,000. So if we just cut it off at 10, listeners, top 10, you wouldn't even see gold today, which is kind of interesting. Number 9, keeping it in the rates, the one that I just called out. It is 3-month SOFR. Also the June contract, kind of weird. Usually we see D sliding it up, but right now it's all June. 270 on the tape for the number 9 spot for SOFR. Number 8, keeping it in the rates. It's the Ultra 10-year. 308,000 contracts on the tape so far today. Number 7, we were just talking about this one as well, kind of getting annihilated out there. It is the Nasdaq E-mini, 414,000 contracts on the tape. Just a lot of tech getting taken to the woodshed today. Number 6, to the rates we go again. It's the 2-year, 436 on the tape. Number 5, right above it, it's the 5-year, 789,000. Look at that jump, listeners, from 436 at number 6 to 789 at number 5. So our top 5 definitely in a different stratosphere than the rest of our list. Number 4, it's our old pal, the E-mini, 828 on the tape. What could top that? Well, it's the micro, the S&P 500 micro, 986. I know. Take that with a grain of salt. Not really 986. I get it, but we wanted to leave it in. You'll see why in a second. Number 2, listeners, it's the 10-year. Yes, I was just talking about this. I just said, I think last week on the show, man, we don't see a lot of times when the 10-year is usurped. What does it take to do that? Well, today is an example. Number 2, listeners, the 10-year. 1.12 million. That's usually enough for the number 1 spot. What could possibly usurp the king of the roost, the big dog in the yard? That is the 10-year? Well, it's the Nasdaq. This time the micro. Again, a cheat. I get it. But still, when anything beats the 10-year, it is certainly worthy of note, worthy of being included in the list. The Nasdaq 100 micro today. 1.465 million contracts. That shows you how much Nasdaq is lighting it up to the downside, and maybe how much of a gut punch this was to some of the folks out there who were diving back in, trying to maybe bid this market back up. We have seen a nice little rally over the last 3 or 4 sessions, and this little gut punch today really driving a lot of flow out here in the Nasdaq. I mentioned I got to hop on a plane. Before I do that, listeners, let's break down what trends are dominating the tape so far year to date in the realm of futures. Let's go to the upside again. Let's keep things optimistic. And once again, we have our top 5 for the year. Number 5 so far year to date, it's copper. Copper up nearly 15%, 14.95%. So far a decent year for copper. Number 4, listeners, we're going to the land of the beans. Soybean oil, listeners, up 17.29% so far year to date. Number 3, you knew it was going to be somewhere on the list. It's number 3 right now. It is coffee, up 21.28%. Number 2, you might have assumed this could be number 1. This is gold, up 24.11%. And when you see what number 1 is, you might actually think gold is the number 1, listeners, the real number 1. Because number 1, yet again, I've said this before, it does kind of, like including the micros is kind of distortive. Including this, it is a future, so technically we have to include it, but it is somewhat distortive. To include the VIX, because we get numbers like this, VIX right now up 42.33% year to date. So if you take the VIX off the list, or at least put an asterisk there, because I guarantee you, probably, unless things get crazy, it probably won't be at the top of the list next week, then we can say gold is really the number 1 year to date mover. And again, that shouldn't surprise any of you who have been paying attention. All right, to the downside we go. And we've got a bottom 5 here, listeners, kicking it off in the Russell 2000, taking a drubbing so far this year, off 17%. A good buddy, Dr. VIX, in our Pro Q&A a couple weeks ago was talking about he was heavily short the S&P. He was rotating, starting to get long a little bit of the Russell 2000 because he was noticing stats like this as well. He thought maybe the Russell 2000 had been a little bit too beat up. That's up to you whether you agree or not, listeners. Off 17.04% so far year to date. Number 4, it's cocoa, off about 24% so far year to date. Number 3, one of our winners for the week, still a big loser for the year. It's OJ, off 33.57%. Number 2, to the land of dairy we go. It's a dairy apocalypse, listeners. Dry whey getting taken to the woodshed so far this year, off 35.66%. And then you know what number one is. It's a tie. It's the micro and the big contract for Ether. I know all the Ether bulls. You don't want to hear it. I'm with you. I got some Ether in my back pocket. I would like it to be higher. I think a lot of people would. But c'est la vie. That's what Ether has chosen to do. Give up the ghost. Number one to the downsides. I guess you could say Ether is beating Bitcoin and Solana in something, and that is downside movement off 54.16% out there so far year to date. So giving up over half of its value so far just this year. Listeners, what trends are you noticing so far this year in the futures markets? Which products are you trading out there? Maybe you have a little pocket of liquidity that you've noticed that's been intriguing to you. Maybe it's performing in an interesting or somewhat aberrant fashion. You'd like us to discuss it on the show. Either way, hit us up. Let us know. All right, that's going to do it for this straight to the airport edition of the Futures Rundown. Remember, I'll be back tomorrow with the option block and This Week in Futures Options live from the Southern studio. So if you're hanging out in the Pro, you'll be able to join us live, have all the fun there, tease the Flow Master and Uncle Mike, and all the other fun that we have live on those shows. If you want to join the live, you want to get the Pro Q&As, you want to get options oddities, you want to get the giveaways and everything else, there's only one place to do it, theoptionsinsider.com/pro. Hope to see you in there. It's a good time. I'm off to the airport, back from the Southern studio tomorrow. No shows on Friday, remember, and Monday because of the Good Friday holiday. I will be traveling. Back again on Tuesday for the Pro folks with an awesome Pro Q&A. Who will join us in the hot seat next week? Got to tune in to find out. So far, we're 2 for 2 with bangers last couple of weeks. We'll see if we can keep the trend alive. And then, of course, back again next Wednesday, another episode of the Futures Rundown. Stay safe out there, everybody.
You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com.